Do you ever just buy a very expensive item, then proceed to watch every review after buying said expensive item? Well, you came to the right place, and hopefully I'm not the only one, but this is my review on the Zotac RTX 5090 Infinity Amp Edition. Wow, that's a lot of words. See you in the PC room. So I'll be honest, this is not a deep dive review. It's just me talking about my experience about this card and, you know, the pros and cons. But I will say this is an amazing card, and the design of it is something I've admired since they dropped it at CES, whatever, a few months ago. The Infinity Mirror is just absolutely gorgeous, and the RGB lighting is super, super nice. But if you're debating about getting this card, I say do it, but only get it at a good price, because right now here in Canada, this card is $100 more than the Asus Astral card, which is wild. I'd rather just get that card and save $100 and go get yourself a nice steak dinner or something. But anyways, that aside, let's jump into this review. This card in particular is a 3.5 slot design. It measures in at 13.1 inches by 5.4 inches by 2.7 inches. So it is still a beefy boy, but if you see right here, this is a 5080 Asus TUF edition. It is still smaller than that card. Now, if you're wondering, yes, it is using the same cooler as a 5090. I had a rep to confirm that in one of my other videos. So there's a comparison shot if you want to go see it. Both great cards, by the way. I just like the Zotac a little bit more because it's got RGB, so that's a win for me. So speaking of RGB, it's also using their Zotac Firestorm software, which, to be honest, is probably one of the better looking softwares I've used in terms of like manufacturers. You can control the lighting, of course, the RGB. You could control the speed of each fan, and you could also change the BIOS from right from the software. Obviously, that'd probably require restarts. It's got two BIOS softwares. One is a performance, which lights up red when you change it, and then it also lights up blue if you change it to the quiet performance. For this particular review, we're just using the performance. And if you're wondering, no, the card is not overclocked or for the review or undervolted. I'm just keeping it stock straight from the box, but I will probably undervolt it just to show you guys the comparison, because to be honest, this card sucks back like 600 watts, and if you undervolt it, it reduces like 100 watts and keeps it quieter, keeps it cooler, which is something I highly recommend, and it's super easy to do. Now that we talked about the design, let's move over to performance. But before we do that, we should probably talk about my system specs. My current rig is running a Ryzen 7 5800X 3D, 32 gigs of RAM, and all games will be installed on an SSD. So that's, with all that out of the way, let's jump into the first game, which is Cyberpunk. Okay, so we are in Cyberpunk right now, and I'll quickly just show you the settings. As you can see, we have DLSS on, set to quality, ray reconstruction on, path tracing on, ray tracing on, field of view set to 100, everything set to high/ultra, and the only things turned off are like film grain and all this motion blur stuff, because ill. But here we are. As you can see, GPU's pegged at 97%. You could see the clocks right there, and then you could see the power usage. It's over 570 watts, 583 there for a second. Temperature is at 74 degrees, GPU is at 70 degrees, maintaining its clocks. So let's step outside and see how much frames we get dropped here. Okay, looks like it's just dropping below 60 here and there. Now, if you are wondering, your GPU is running a little on the high end compared to other reviews, this room is just really warm. Now, I did try to hotbox it with my AC unit to get some cool air in here, but when your GPU is pushing out 575 watts, it's almost impossible. So Take it with a grain of salt. If you have a lower ambient temperatured room, it's probably going to run much cooler, but yes, it is edging the line between 80 degrees. But the clocks are still holding steady at 2700, so it's okay. So I'm kind of just roaming around to see here how many frames we get, but it looks like it's edging around 60 frames, which, to be honest, this is totally playable. If this was a competitive game, I would say no, but to be honest, it's pretty good for me right now. So I'm just gonna quickly run back to our apartment. Okay, so we're edging around 60. Let me drop it down to performance, just in case you're curious. Now we are getting 85 in the room. I mean, that's definitely more enjoyable. And then I'm not gonna lie, the differences is pretty minimal. It is so hard to tell. Maybe in the hair of this character. And I think further out too. But to be honest, I don't know if it's my brain like gaslighting me, you know? But as you can tell, we are hanging around the 80 FPS look here. Yeah, if you put this on performance, if we did a blind test, I think it'd be very hard for me to distinguish the difference. Because this is totally playable. But let's run back to the apartment so we're not wasting too much time. And just because we're here, we might as well turn on frame gen. So let me go back to quality and then turn on frame gen. We're going to use 4 times. There we are. Once again, the GPU is still sucking back over 550 watts easily. But now we went from around 60 FPS all the way up to around 200, 190 FPS. It is definitely much smoother. And to be honest, minimal impact to the leg in terms of mouse inputs. Something that you definitely get used to in a matter of minutes. Wouldn't do this if this was a competitive game, but for a single player game, yeah, I'm keeping 4 times. Because this feels unreal. Once again, the clocks are not dropping. Temperatures are hanging around in the 77 degrees, peaking at 79 degrees Celsius. I could definitely feel the heat in this room now because of this GPU. So there's that game. Let's move on to the next one. Okay, so we are booted up to Indiana Jones. This is the initial first level right off the rip. Now I've chosen this level because this is the most intensive part of the game in my opinion. The developers really said, hey, if you can't run the first 10 seconds of the game, you need to upgrade your GPU. Basically saying you're too poor to run this. But anyways, here is the video settings so you can check it out. We're running at 4K. Everything's set to ultra, supreme texture pool size, full ray tracing, everything on. DLSS is set to quality, and there's no frame generation on. And yep, I definitely saw 581 watts at its peak there, so that is absolutely wild. Also wild is I'm only getting 60 frames. Not even. And if you're wondering, GPU is a little on the warmer side. Again, the room is really hot, and when you have a GPU that's sucking back almost 600 watts, it's becoming a space heater for sure. But it's still holding its clocks, and that's what's important. Generally, I would be having my AC running right now. It is summertime, but the AC noise in the background would be kind of annoying. Now, I should quickly show you what happens when you undervolt this GPU. So once again, we're around 78 to 80 degrees Celsius. Clocks are at 2700, and we're pulling around 475 watts on average. Peaking, I think I saw it at 593 watts, which is wild. So let me quickly show you what happens when we undervolt it. So I've already done it, so I'll have to probably show you. If you want to see a separate video of how to undervolt your GPU, I can make that for you. Just let me know in the comment section. But I'm not going to get into detailed. I already have it done, so I'm just going to click apply. And there we go. And you can see now that it is pulling under 500 watts. Peaking at 503 watts, which is a lot better than the 575 that it's doing. So it seems like on average I dropped about 80 to 100 watts just by doing that, which I highly recommend, especially with these cable connectors melting. Just having less juice going through it just kind of, you know, gives you a peace of mind. And since we're pulling less watts, the GPU is running much cooler. Now it's dropping down to like 73 degrees Celsius, 74. It also means the fans aren't spinning as loud too, you know. So look at that. Save yourself 80 to 100 watts. And honestly, all it took, 10 minutes. I'm sure there's a bunch of YouTube videos, but if you want me to make one, I will do one for you. So, but anyways, that's that game. Let's move on to the third game, Doom Dark Ages. All right, we're back. Doom Dark Ages. And if you're wondering, yes, I went back to stock settings for the GPU. That loaded so quickly, holy crap. Okay, let me show you the settings real quick here. Once again, 4K, field of view set to 120, DLSS is on, set to quality, no frame gen, and then everything set to Ultra Nightmare. It also should be noted that this game does use baked in ray tracing, so you do need an RTX card to run it or an AMD equivalent. This game is so much fun. Okay, as you can see, we're sucking back around 480 watts, just shy of 500 maybe. Getting a decent amount of frames. So that's super, super nice. I'm trying to look at the statistics here. But it looks like the GPU is trying to keep cool here, so that's not too bad.
You're almost outside. There's a path through the tube nearby.
Ooh, what's this? Ruby found. Oh, okay. New weapon acquired? Okay. Impaler. Okay. Does an insane amount of damage, holy crap. Okay, I think I saw 510 watts there. Oh, I died. Damn it. Okay, let's reload that checkpoint. You know what? I meant to die because I was going to show you what happens when I undervolt this card. So once again, hit apply, it's already done. And just like that, we dropped about 80 watts of usage. And look at that, it also runs cooler too. So I highly recommend undervolting. Also getting this game because it's fucking sick. But I'll be honest, I'm waiting for path tracing patch to drop, so. Is everyone dead? Did we do it? We did it! But yeah, gorgeous looking game, a lot of fun. I just want to see it in full path tracing, but it looks like we were maintaining at least 135 frames and around 400 watts. So, and look at that, 68 degrees, 69. Look at that. So, highly recommend undervolting. Card is performing amazing so far. Not much to see here, but let's move on. And yeah, if you want to see any other games, let me know. But yeah. All right, closing remarks. obviously, if you're getting a 5090, you don't really care about money. Like, let's be honest, you don't really have a budget, so paying a little bit more than MSRP for this particular card because you like the design and the infinity mirror and the RGB, 100% go do it. But if you're scraping by and you're kind of wondering which one should I get, I'd probably just get the Founders Edition. If you had a choice, I would just get that one because it saves you like $600, maybe a little bit more. But to be honest, the looks of it is beautiful, and it's been a great card, and I'm hoping to keep it for the next like 3 to 5 years. So make sure you like, subscribe, and hopefully you enjoyed the review. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.